Skoda has come a long way since being taken over by the VW group in the 1990s, and the Octavia is its best-selling model, and it's not really hard to see why, because it's basically a Golf underneath the skin, only it's got a slightly bigger, more practical body with an elongated tailgate rather than a cut-off hatchback. And that means the boot is absolutely massive. I mean, there's even enough room for me in there. What's that? You want me to prove it? All right. Okay, so I feel a little bit ridiculous now, but it does kind of illustrate the point. And if you need even more space, you can always fold the rear seats down. And because unlike in a Golf, the seat bases flip forward, it means that the backs lie completely flat, which boosts practicality. But let me show you what the Octavia is like for the place where people are supposed to be travelling. And as you can see, I've got plenty of knee room and headroom. As for the front, it's very easy to get comfortable in the Octavia, regardless of your size or shape, because there's lots of adjustment in the driver's seat and the steering wheel. Also, there's quite a few nice practical features. For instance, for big bottles, there's a large cup holder in the door bin, and for small energy drink cans, there's a tiny one there in the centre console. I also like this handy cubby on the dash, which you can use to keep your sunglasses, and everything you touch has that lovely VW group feeling of solidity about it. You can get the Octavia with a wide range of VW group engines. I mean, diesels are the obvious choice, but it's definitely worth checking out some of the new turbo petrols, such as the 1.2 TSI in this car, because it's smooth, it's economical, and it's surprisingly swift. In fact, you know what? I swear it doesn't even feel like a 1.2, it's more like a 2 litre. But whichever engine you go for, the Skoda Octavia will always be a quiet and refined cruiser. It's also very comfortable too, because the suspension does a great job of ironing out all the bumps in the road, yet it still manages to corner with quite a bit of gusto. However, while this car handles well, I wouldn't exactly describe it as being entertaining to drive in the way that a Ford Focus is, and that's because the steering, well, it kind of lacks a little bit of feel. And while I'm having a moan about things, I have to say it's a bit mean that it's not got a central armrest. Only the top spec car gets one, and if like me you'd like to have a bit of a lean while you're driving, that could be a bit of a pain. There's a drawback to that elongated tailgate too, because it means the Octavia is harder to park than a Golf. And finally, even though the jokes are a thing of the past, the badge still isn't as desirable as a VW one. But you'd be mad to let that bother you, because the Octavia, like I said at the beginning, is basically a Golf underneath, only it's slightly bigger and it costs less, which means that in terms of value for money, it's almost impossible to beat.